Aloha! What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Omens, where we take a good look at the crazy things that have been happening around the world, and we get a feel for how close we might be to another apocalyptic event, another worldwide cataclysm. Lots of crazy things. There's no short supply of omens these days, right? The world's been a crazy mess, and it's just getting crazier in 2024. Let me make sure the audio is good. If everyone in the chat doesn't mind giving me a thumbs up if the audio is good, appreciate that. I see a lot of people already liking the video ahead of time. I also want to say thank you. Appreciate that too. It's kind of like voting, you know. It's like voting for your favorite channel or whatever. So I really appreciate all those likes, and I appreciate if you guys could let me know if the audio sounds good. I did turn up the audio for some of the videos I'll be sharing with everyone today as well. I see the thumbs up rolling in the chat, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start off with some viewer submissions. I've had some really interesting ones, really cool ones lately. And I did have a couple of last minute submissions, but unfortunately I was already ready to start the presentation. So those ones, whoever sent in those ones, we'll get those ones next week. All right, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and get this pulled up. We'll share the viewer submissions first. Now, this one comes to us. Who is this? Browsy. This comes from Browsy. Actually, in the chat, Browsy sent in this really interesting video. And before I play it, I'll give you a preface of he was describing what I'm watching in the video. And he has the ability to manipulate his chi or his aura or his etheric energy or his prana or vril, or there's so many different words for that, and he's not the only one. There's many people in the world. You ever see the video of the guy that does the push-up without touching the ground? You know what I mean? Does like this freaking chi force push-up thing, and then like puts like a stick, or I don't know. Anyways, a lot of people have powers, and I talk about the reality behind superpowers on my channel all of the time. And it seems to me that as we get right before the next apocalyptic cycle, that many people's abilities or energies are becoming amplified because the energy in our world is becoming amplified, right? So Mother Nature's going into flux. People are going into flux. The old ways are returning. The world's going crazy. Let's check this out. This comes from Browsy, and watch what he does. He manipulates the moisture in the air right in front of a mirror. Like, you ever go in front of a mirror and you go, and you like breathe on it, and it makes that sort of cloud? Check this out. Let's see. All right. So here he is, and he just barely touched it right there. But right there, he totally does not touch it. And you can see all that, like, looks like a little cloud appearing on the mirror there. And this is so crazy. He's got music in the background, but I don't want to play it because of the copyright strike or whatnot. I'll play it one more time because it's really interesting, right? And if anyone's a naysayer, and there's always naysayers out there, especially these days, to say that it would be fake or whatever. I want to remind everyone here on my channel, I look into the omens behind everything. Even things that are fake or real or whatnot, it doesn't matter, because everything is connected, and we're all connected. And that's why I can see so much stuff in like the movies and pop culture and things like that, is because it doesn't have to be that they all are in on it or that they all know or whatnot. We collectively know. We collectively have the information because we're collectively connected to the world around us. So the world speaks to us in various ways, and it manifests within us quite often. So that was a really cool one. That was really interesting to see. Thanks a lot, Browsy, out of Canada. All right, let's go on to the next one here. If I can figure out how to go on to the next one. Boogled! Hey, thanks for your donation, Boogled. How do I go to the next one here? Sorry, one moment. There should be another one. I'm not sure how to do it, though. All right, I got an idea. Let's get rid of that. And I'll go ahead and go to my viewer submissions. I'm going to get it pulled up in a different program here so we can look at the rest of them. All right, just 1 second. All right, I was probably just using the wrong program here to check it out. Let's try this. All right, let me see if you guys can see that. Okay, perfect, cool. You can. All right. Now, this one comes to us from Charlene Woodard out of Louisiana. Her friend personally took this picture. And at the top up here, there's a captioning, and it says, there's no filter on this image. She took this picture, and she says, "This is the color of my yard this morning. I looked up, and the grass was orange." So I thought this was really interesting, hearkening to those times whenever the sky was red and the world was more monochrome. But this is sort of that orangey, dusty color that we can expect to see after the next apocalyptic cycle, whenever the world is oxidized, basically, and there's rust and things like that are prevalent. So that was really cool. Thank you, Charlene. And also tell your friend I said thanks for allowing us to share her picture. This is something we'll talk about whenever I open up the headlines. This is this was sent to me from Gunrata in California. And it's a huge statue of Kid Cudi. One in France and one in the United States. We're going to come back to that. I'm actually going to talk about that, but thanks for bringing that to my attention. Also, we've got this one right here, which is a screenshot from another channel that's talking about how a Russian nuclear weapons plant exploded, which I thought was also of interest. Just blew up. This nuclear power plant in Russia blew up. Now, this was really cool. This is sent in from Joseph out of Australia. He took this picture. He says he took this picture right immediately after one of those huge sun flares or whatever they call those, right? And you can see these rainbows all the way around, like a circular rainbows around the sun. Just waves, rainbow waves. That's so interesting and crazy. And rainbows make their appearances in various prophecies and descriptions of various gods and savior-like figures, especially in the Bible. Here's another picture that he shared. It's the same area with the rainbows there. I also want to point out, if you notice off to the sides here, these frequency ripples. I don't know what else to call these, but I've seen these a lot in the skies over the United States, at least. I'm just going to call them frequency ripples because that's what it looks like to me. It looks like that there's frequencies so strong up there in the air that they seem to be manipulating the clouds. And the frequencies can also manipulate, wind and stuff like that too. But anyways, I thought that was really cool. And then he shared this. This was the solar flare, M399. I don't know much about their classifications. But it does say down here that it caused radio blackouts. See down here at the very bottom right there? Radio blackouts. That's also something I consider to be a sign. Whenever our technology is starting to go on the fritz and is in flux as well. So those were really interesting shares from everyone. If you want to submit an omen of your own, then just go to my website, JayDreamerZ.com, click on the Omens tab, and upload whatever you'd like to share with us. All right, cool. Next, let's go to the headlines. Oh, man. I've got so much interesting stuff to talk about with these headlines and the crazy stuff that's happening around the world. We're not even going to hit all of it. There's so many things that are happening. I'm just going to skim off the top, and we're going to talk about all the interesting stuff. What's up, everybody in the chat right behind me? High five, high five. Everybody gets a high five. All right, cool. Let's start with the Kid Cudi one, or Cudi, however you want to say his name, right? These statues, these strange statues, are 33 feet tall, and they were delivered in public in Paris and I believe in California as well. Check this out. For me, it's, basically a reference to being plasma possessed and being full of light and things of that nature. But you also see he's doing the Atlas pose there too, right? The old Atlas pose. Let me scooch it down a bit so we can see it a little better. So there he is doing the Atlas pose, or hands up, right? And I'll show you some more pictures too. I've got a couple more. Oh, also in that picture, notice the pillars right behind him, right? If I zoom out, you can see the entire picture there. They put him purposefully right in front of these pillars, right? Which is Atlas holding up the sky, the pillars of Hercules, etc., and being full of light and filled with light. This is hearkening to what they call Anno Lucas, which is the age of light, or you could say Anno Lucius. Here he is again. I think this was the one that was in California. They strapped him to a boat and paraded him around, 33 feet tall, and they lit it up for everyone to see. Gigantism also is something that this also is an omen of and represents. Gigantism will return to our world one day. Gigantism existed, and it's going to make a comeback. Here it is in France. The one with the pillars is in France. Isn't that crazy? That kind of reminds me of the Blucifer out here in Denver. That's the name of that creepy, evil-looking horse thing, that horse statue that they have in front of Denver International Airport. Now, check this out. You guys remember last, I don't know, maybe what was it, a month ago, whenever we shared this, where there was that airplane that depressurized in midair, in mid-flight, because the door blew off, right? 1 in a million, right? Like, there's no way that would ever happen again. But still, we found the omen inside of it, right? Which was the depressurization of our atmosphere, the cabin, right, etc. There's no way that could happen again. Let's see what this news story says.
The door of a small plane flew off mid-flight, and Cheektowaga police believe it landed somewhere in a town park.
The plane landed safely, and at this hour, no injuries are reported. Our Patrick Ryan breaks down the details from...
This is a different plane. This is a different plane. This is not the same plane. This happened again. Doors are just flying off of planes. Planes are depressurizing up in the air. Omen after omen. Check it out.
And federal officials.
Oh, we have an emergency. We're heading back.
HI Alpha, roger. Proceed inbound for runway 32 if you'd like, or 23, your choice. When able, if you could say the nature of it.
We lost our rear door.
We lost our door.
Small airplane flying over
that guy's probably... Hold on, let me pause that.
Declared an
Where'd I go?
landing. Here's the latest we know at this time.
That guy's probably like, oh, we lost our door. Oh, don't worry about that. That happens all the time. We've got procedures for that kind of thing now. Is that audio okay on the video? Can you guys hear the audio okay? Let me know in the chat if you can. I would appreciate it. It's good to see so many people. Lots of people watching today. I appreciate it. That's awesome. It's good to have, you know, like minds together at the same time. So yeah, doors are flying off of airplanes left and right. Cockpits and cabins are depressurizing or whatnot. The audio is good. Oh, okay, good. All right, sweet. Thank you, Shadow Hunter. Appreciate you. All right. Well, if the audio is good, let's continue on. I suppose I'll find out for sure once the video is all done. So yes, the door flew off of another airplane in midair. You might not want to sit next to the door. Like if you're going to be flying anytime in the near future, right? It's probably, you might want to stay away from those things, you know? That's crazy that it just flew off. Next up, this is interesting. I made this little compilation of pictures. I want to talk about transparent clothing. That's something that's been really popular lately, and it's an omen. People that are wearing, they have fancy names for basically being naked, but having like almost nothing on. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm not going to weigh in on if it's good or bad or whatever. I'm going to say it is a part of prophecy. It's a part of omens. It's definitely an omen. I had to make, just to be clear for the sake of the algorithm, okay, we have blocked out all of the fun parts, okay? And I think it's funny because all these people are starting to wear clothing, but you can tell they're naked, basically, right? They're just walking around, they're basically naked. But they have clothes on. So are they naked? You know, it's a weird, strange trend that's been happening all over the place. And while, those of us over here in like the advanced world or whatever, while we're basically wearing clothes that makes it look like we're butt naked, we also ban those people of other belief systems that cover themselves completely. Like, we shame that. We look down on that. You know, people walk around like, you know, with pasties on, and they're like, high five, yeah, right on. What's up, fellow pasty patrol or whatever? But anyone that wears like a little burqa ninja outfit, or, you know, whatever you want to call it, I don't know what people call those. Yeah, they're banned. That's against the rules. You're covering yourself up too much. Isn't that weird? It reminds me of a verse in the Bible, and it also reminds me of something in Islam I'll share with you too. In the Bible, it says, "Behold, I am coming like a thief. Blessed is the one who remains awake and clothed, so that he will not go naked and let his shame be exposed." Now, I also want to point out that I also believe that, you know, you will probably want to have clothing on when the world depressurizes, when the atmosphere depressurizes, because it's going to get really cold really fast. It's a low pressure system. You know, you might, as part of your go bag, if you have one, I highly recommend having like a little roll of like warm weather clothing or something that you can access quickly. And then over here in Islam they have a prophecy. They have these books called the Hadith that were written, that were basically quotes from Muhammad, the prophet. And it says, the messenger of Allah, may peace be upon him, said, "There are two types of people in hell whom I have not seen." And he described one of them as being women who are clothed, yet fully naked. Women who are clothed, yet naked, walking with an enticing gait, with something on their heads that looks like the humps of camels leaning to one side. They will never enter paradise or even smell its fragrance. Right? So I found that to be particularly interesting. That's a new trend, is all of these people just walking around, like, you know what I mean? Like, is it against the law? Is it not against the law? The laws are all mixed up. People that wear too much, you know, are condemned, and people that wear next to nothing are, you know, praised and whatnot. I think that's hypocritical, to say the least about it, and really strange. Just strange times that we're living in. All right, next up, let's go over to this guy. Okay, let me share this dude. Hold on, where is it? Let me scooch it over a bit so I don't have to move it too much there. All right, now, this guy's name is Joe Biden. He is the leader of America. All right. I don't follow politics almost at all. Okay. I don't care at all. To me, it's all the WWF. It's WrestleMania. It's sports. I don't believe in any of it at all. I can't stand it. But this is funny. This caught my attention. And I do enjoy watching this guy, the oldest president in U.S. history, another record broken, right? So when we listen to Omens of the world, we also watch out for record-breaking things that happen. This is another one. He's the oldest president ever, right? Basically the king of America. And he clearly has lost his mind if he ever had one. Okay, like, I don't know anything about this dude, but I've seen so many videos where the dude clearly has dementia that I look at the United States and all the people that vote. I'm just like, what is wrong with you people? Let's go. You know what I mean? Not that I believe in voting or that any of that even is real. But I want to talk about what he says here. Biden on Republican opposition to Ukraine aid. History is watching. History is watching. This is how dumb people are. This is how dumb we are collectively. This guy represents everyone in the United States. Okay? So if he's dumb, you know what I mean? If he's not very intelligent, let's think about this, okay? I'm going to update everyone. History means the past. Okay? History does not mean the future. That's not what it means, okay? It means the past. It has always meant the past, and there's no way it has ever meant the future. It doesn't imply the future. History, the past, is not watching us today in the future. We can look back at the past and watch it, but the past cannot look at us and watch unless, you know, we're speaking prophetically, I suppose, right? But this guy says the dumbest things. I think I remember seeing this interview. It went something like, it's kind of like, this is what he says, right? He says, when you want to watch you could turn on Netflix. You turn it on Netflix and you watch a movie and put the guy in front of you orders 15 breakfast burritos and they're putting them, I put jalapenos in the breakfast burritos, and it makes your face, it makes your face wet. Your face gets all wet, and you get face drip. No one likes to have a face drip. The kids like that though, and I like kids more than humans. But history's watching. That's what that means. Like, that's how he sounds to me. Okay, I don't know how this dude sounds to you guys. That's my impression. That's my impersonation. But yeah, it's a huge omen. Just this guy in and of himself, that all of you in general, not, you specifically watching me right now, but all the people, okay, allow that. This is okay with them. That's their representative. He represents all of you, right? All of the people, especially in the United States, the leader of the free world or whatever. It's crazy. Let me check in with the chat just to make sure everybody can still hear me. Okay, everybody's busting out. That's funny. All right, let's see. So we slammed on Biden. What else we got next? Oh, winter storm. Hold on, let me scooch this over a bit. Hold on. Make it bigger. There we go. Winter storm. Heavy snow hits the Northeast, bringing travel hazards and more than 1,500 flight cancellations. So there's huge storms, and this is just a reminder that our weather patterns are in flux, right? And when the news talks about this, they start calling this the new normal. They want all of you to get used to it, just like they want you to get used to how fast time is speeding up, and they just update your clocks, and everything's being updated, which means it's always being changed, which means it's being manipulated, right? But the weather's in flux. The weather's switching back and forth from extreme to extreme, right? That's a huge sign of the apocalypse, coming. All right, next up, climate experts sound alarm over thriving plant life in the Greenland ice sheet. So Greenland, which everyone, most intelligent people who I've ever met have posed the question, why is Iceland green and Greenland is ice? Why is the Greenland white, etc., right? Well, it's probably because Greenland used to be green. That stands to reason that's why it was named that. It used to be green, it used to be tropical, it used to be flourishing, but then we had an apocalypse or an apocalyptic event, cataclysmic events that changed life in that particular world. Now it's returning back to that state, or at least there's indicators that it may be, right? With thriving plant life, etc. So that's pretty interesting too. Let's see, next up we've got the solar eclipse. Let's talk about the old solar eclipse trick. All right. The local Emergency Management Association says that you should stock up on food, fuel, and water ahead of the eclipse. Now, this whole eclipse thing really it irritates me. I don't like it. I get a bad feeling about it. Okay, I'm just going to shoot from the hip. I get a bad feeling because they're promoting it so much. They are encouraging people to go stare at the eclipse. And they're making a big deal about it, especially these ones that we've been having lately. Eclipses happen all the time. They're not really that big of a deal if what academics says about what's happening, why it's happening or whatever. It's not really that big of a deal. It should just be like a phase of the moon. Who cares? That's me. That's my, it is interesting and cool, but the reason I feel it's interesting and cool is because academics' explanation of what causes eclipses is wrong. It's not correct. And there's something inside of us, our intuition, that tells us this is an omen. This is something bigger. This is a sign of things to come. But check this out.
Intended to scare. It's just to prepare for the unexpected.
This is not doomsday. Prepare yourself. Just be ready.
You hear that, guy? This is not doomsday. They always say that whenever people, might freak out about something. They're trying to control the masses, right? And they're trying to make it so that people are just chill and calm whenever there's a possible danger, I'll say, right? Whenever there's possible dangers. So yeah, I'm not going to be staring at it. I might possibly. I don't know. I'm wrestling within myself if I even want to take a quick peek. You know what I mean? But I'm probably not going to. That's just me. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I'm totally watching it. I'm this and that. That's your decision. That's fine. And I'm not saying anything bad's going to happen. But I'm saying my intuition is telling me the government that I don't trust, okay, wants me to stare up at this eclipse. And I know the eclipses are connected to bad juju, bad energy, bad omens. An eclipse is never good. It's never a good thing. And they want everyone to rush out there and look and stare and go outside. When they say to go outside, I tend to run inside. You know, when they say to go inside, I might probably go outside. That's just me. This is interesting too. This is a little cartoon showing a dragon and a bear representing China and Russia. And they're at the North Pole. And then Canada, represented by this beaver, says Arctic Patrol to base. Ominous signs. Repeat. Ominous signs. I feel like he whistles when he talks. So yeah, ominous signs that Russia and China now are both and have been expressing interest, I'll say, aggressively in the Arctic region, in the North Pole, basically, right? Like Russia made sense. Right? Russia and America, they're close. They're right up there. China's way far, like away from the Arctic. Who cares? You know what I mean? But nah, you got the United States claiming land, more land up in the Arctic. Russia had made the comment, Russia made the comment that they wanted Alaska back. Basically, I thought that was really interesting. Dragon in the North, assessing the growing Chinese threat to the Arctic region. Right? Why is this becoming such a big deal? Right? People will start to say, oh, it's just because the ice is melting and there's more stuff under the ice that, oil or whatever people, say is of value to them. But is it though? Or is it the armies of the world starting to surround the camp of the people of God at the North Pole? I wonder. Interesting stuff that China's super involved now. This is an interesting article too. China in the Arctic. Now this says right here, I'll make it a little larger so you can see it. But this says, number 1, China has become an observer in the Arctic Council, indicating it is very interested in Arctic affairs. It is building a third icebreaker, which is expected to be in service next year. The icebreaker Zhulong visited the Northwest Passage in '99, conducted China's first transit of the Northwest Passage. March 2023, the Canadian military discovered Chinese monitoring buoys in the Canadian Arctic waters, which are able to monitor and track submarines. Many of China's research vessels, which have operated in Canadian Arctic waters, are owned and operated by state-affiliated organizations with close ties to the People's Liberation Army. And last but not least, by 2025, China will have built for use in the Arctic Shang-3, a nuclear attack submarine. The armies of the world surround the camp of the people of God at the middle, in the center, where God should live, in the middle, right? Or should be placed in the middle, in the center. Crazy times that we're living in. This one says, frequent marine heat waves in the Arctic Ocean will be the norm, says a new study. Frequent marine heat waves in the Arctic. Wow. Heat waves in the Arctic. Well, if you're new to my channel, here's what we talk about quite often, right? The 2 different apocalyptic cycles. The one that I believe is on the way, that I've seen evidence for, and that, I see it every single day, is the one where the sun becomes hotter and hotter and hotter, and daylight becomes more focused. And eventually the sun transgresses the northern tropic, and it starts circling its way towards the North Pole every year, getting closer and closer. Or getting closer and closer to the Arctic, which would, by nature, heat up the Arctic and cause heat waves in the Arctic and melt all that ice, and, you know what I mean? New lands appear and whatnot. Interesting stuff. This is interesting too. Check this omen out. So you may have heard that there was a tornado, a huge tornado in Wisconsin, or Wisconsin, depending on how you want to say it. Check this out.
Something unusual happened in Wisconsin Thursday night. A rare tornado
Look how
was
big that
confirmed
is.
to have touched down about 30 miles south of Madison.
That's a strong
What
one.
makes this rare? Well, there hadn't been a confirmed February tornado anywhere in Wisconsin.
Okay, check this out. She says, why is this rare? Because this is the first recorded sighting of a tornado ever. Like, I think she says maybe in like 180 years or something, but the first record they don't get tornadoes in February. It's winter, especially in Wisconsin, right? Wisconsin. Huge tornado. Let me rewind that a bit. Check this out.
Down about 30 miles south of Madison. What makes this rare? Well, there hadn't been a confirmed February tornado anywhere in Wisconsin in 180 years of record keeping.
In over 180 years. So basically ever. Okay. So February tornado in Wisconsin. That never happens. Remember, we keep our eyes on the records, on the strange anomalies, on the fluctuations, on the things that are clearly, evidently different than the norms, right? Let's talk about earthquakes. Earthquakes are happening all over the place, which is a huge omen. You know, in the Bible, that's one of the main omens to talk about. There will be earthquakes in diverse and, various places. There was an earthquake. I mean, there have been so many earthquakes this year. Big ones, too. Florida had an earthquake, right? Speaking of, extreme weather that normally doesn't happen in places like Wisconsin, tornadoes in February. Florida had a 4.0 earthquake. They're not used to that. Okay, that's a huge omen. There was a 5.1 magnitude earthquake in Oklahoma City. I'll show you that one. There was a 5.3 in Alaska, January 19th. That Oklahoma City one that was just recently too. 5.7 in Hawaii. You guys remember that? And there was also Malibu. Was it Malibu? No, that's Hawaii. There's a Malibu in California too. And there was one in California. That one's, if it was just California, it wouldn't really be that big of an omen, especially if it's a 4.6. That's, it's not bad. But yeah, in California there was one. So California, Hawaii, Florida, and let's talk about this Oklahoma one. I'm going to come back to that little article here in just a second. Oklahoma City. Is it going to play? I don't want to play that guy. All right. Well, let's see what we were looking at here. Oklahoma City. I think I got a picture. Well, about a month ago, there was a 4.4. And there have been many in the Oklahoma area, in the state of Oklahoma and in the surrounding regions, right? They're not typically used to that, right? This is stuff that you hear about in California and stuff like that. And then this other one, man, how big was this other one? It says here 5.1. That's pretty sizable, especially for Oklahoma. Let me see if I can see where it is. Oh, here it is. It's at the top. Oklahoma City jolted by a 5.1 earthquake, right? So they had a few of them, actually. And it was really weird because I'm from California. And if you're from places that, typically get lots of earthquakes, then you know that normally there's a big one. You get your initial shock, and then you have aftershocks that are smaller and smaller. But that's not really how it was happening here in the central United States. They had little ones, and then they had a big one, and then they had another big one. The earthquakes are in flux, and they're acting strange too. And that takes us to the Bible, right? This is actually extra biblical. So some books have been taken out of the Bible. Some churches approve of them, some don't. What I'm going to read to you right now is not in the official version of the Bible. This is a book called Esdras, right? Yes, Esdras. Now this is from chapter 5, and it says signs of the end. Let me read this to you. Let me make it smaller so you guys can see it. Signs of the end. Now, concerning the signs, behold, the days are coming, when those who dwell on the earth shall be seized with great terror, and the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith. The unrighteous shall be increased beyond what you yourself see, and beyond what you heard of formerly. The land which you see now ruling shall be waste and untrodden, and men shall see it desolate. But if the Most High grants that you live, you shall see it thrown into confusion after the third period. And this is a prophecy. The sun shall suddenly shine forth at night, and the moon during the day. Now, if you pay attention to this Omen series, I've had many submissions where people are like, wow, the moon is like pretty close to the sun right now, and the moon's out during the daytime a lot more than, many of us remember. And also because time is speeding up, right? The sun is going around quicker, daylight is a lot more focused and hotter and smaller and stuff, right? People are having trouble, their circadian rhythms are off. They're having trouble sleeping. People that used to be strictly night owls find themselves waking up early in the morning for some reason, and they can't stand it. Like me. I'm just speaking for myself. I'm sure there's others too. But our circadian rhythms are all thrown off because the sun is in the wrong spot, or it's in the spot. It's in a new place. It's on a new track, on a new cycle where we're not used to it. But the governments had just update our clocks and stuff, and they just convince us that everything's fine. But they have to constantly change the time, right? And then the moon shining during the day. Blood shall drip from wood, and the stone shall utter its voice. And peoples shall be troubled, and the stars shall fall. And one shall reign whom those who dwell on the earth do not expect. And the birds shall fly away together. And the sea of Sodom shall cast up fish. And one whom many do not know shall make his voice heard by night, and all shall hear his voice. This one's particularly interesting to me. What does it say here? One whom many do not know shall make his voice heard by night, and all shall hear his voice. You know what this reminded me of when I first read this? It reminds me of that ringing in my ears. I'm just speaking for myself. I mostly hear that at night. The Bikini Truther, hey, welcome. Thanks for the super chat. I mostly hear this ringing sound in my ears at nighttime. And it's getting louder, and it's, sometimes it like tunes in. Sometimes it's almost like, if a percussion explosion went off nearby, that sort of like that loud. I don't know how to replicate it with my mouth, but those of you who experience it, you know what I'm talking about, right? It sounds like a freaking frequency. Like it does. I have no physical defects that I know of. Okay. Like, we all have issues or whatever, but I'm in pretty good health, and I always have been. I don't buy this crap that people just have problems with their ears or their brains or whatever it is. Like, no. That's not what I'm getting. When I hear this sound, and sometimes it comes in like someone turned the volume up. You guys know what I'm talking about. There's I know I'm not the only one. I know it. Okay. So this is what that reminds me of. Okay. There shall be chaos also in many places, and fire shall often break out. And the wild beasts shall roam beyond their haunts. We've seen many of these, all these things. I don't feel like I need to, really break down each one of these individually, but this one I will comment on. We see this all the time right here on my channel. I show you all these articles and headlines and news stories where there's these animals that are migrating way beyond places where they normally are found. Just off the top of my head, the flamingos come to mind. The orcas also come to mind. There's all these animals are leaving their normal areas where they normally live. And minstrous women shall bring forth monsters. Now, they don't put this in the news a whole lot, but you can actually look this up quite easily on the internet, that there's a lot of deformities happening with people who are able to give birth. The birth rates are just dropping. Okay. Fertility rates, they're on their way out. Okay. It will be a miracle in the near future if you can have a baby, if you do get pregnant. However, cross your fingers that it doesn't come out mutated and strange looking. You know what I mean? I'm not that matters to everybody, but I'm just saying, Mother Nature is not happy. She doesn't seem happy with humanity. If I'm going to, drop my perspective a bit and just, I'm not saying it's our fault or anything. I'm sure these things would happen normally anyways. These are just signs of the apocalypse, okay? Because of the changes that are happening with the world that we live in. And that's pretty much it. That's our presentation for today. I would like to thank everyone for your submissions going to my website. I want to thank a lot of people who've been donating to my PayPal and signing up to be members and stuff. And I've got a brand new credits for all of my channel members. I don't know if you guys noticed, but my robot Nemo at the end has changed a little bit in the credits. So I'm going to let you guys check that out and see what you can point out, see what you might notice in these credits. It took me a while to do it. I'm very proud of it, and I'm proud to show off all of the people that support my work. Until next time, I'm JayDreamerZ saying good vibes and goodbye.